It is Brittany here from My Core Floor, back for a Friday broadcast with Britt. And today we are chatting a little bit about sickness and the pelvic floor. And it's a perfect time of year to bring this up, right? Heading into the winter, coming off of the pandemic where everybody has been wearing masks and now we're not wearing them as much maybe, and being exposed to all sorts of germs that we maybe haven't been exposed to the last few years. I know in the clinic, I'm seeing a lot of clients with a variety of things going on right now. Sinus infections, common colds, all this sort of stuff, right? So this has come up a few times, and I thought it would be a great thing to chat with you guys about because I have had a few women who I work with who have been doing awesome. They have been really consistent with doing their My Core Floor program. They have been good with doing their self-soft tissue work, all the things that they're supposed to do. Their incontinence has gotten better, their urgency and frequency has gotten better, and they were really feeling awesome until they got sick. And then the panic set in because a lot of their symptoms returned. Maybe not full-fledged as severe as they were initially, but definitely more severe than they had been. And leading up to getting sick, they had been doing all the right things. And so their first reaction was panic. Oh my gosh, all of these things are coming back. Does this mean I'm backsliding completely? Does getting sick have to do with it? Or is it completely a separate thing that it just happens, my symptoms all came back and I happen to be sick at the same time? Or are they related? And so my answer is that in most cases, they are related, okay? And the first thing, if this happens to you, that I wanna tell you not to do is don't panic. It sucks. Right? When you've been doing really well and you've been doing all the things you're supposed to do and symptoms are good and you're feeling good and you're feeling like you have your life back and you're no longer living by bathroom trips and having to buy pads, and then all of a sudden it comes flooding back, no pun intended. It's discouraging and it's frustrating, and I get that. And it's a little scary. Like, oh gosh, I was doing really well. Was this like too good to be true? So my first piece of advice is if this happens to you, stop and take a deep breath. It's okay. I promise you that we will get you back to where you were. And this is how I know this. Because when we get sick, our bodies go into this mode where they're fighting off viruses, they're fighting off infection, bacteria, whatever it might be, right? So your body's focus becomes that, fighting off that acute disease, right? The other thing that starts to happen is not only is your body sort of in this fight mode of trying to get rid of what doesn't belong, but how we move, how we posture ourselves, what's happening directly impacts our pelvic floor, okay? So think about when you're sick. Are you up and tall and, good posture? Or when you feel crappy and sick, do you tend to sort of want to curl up? That fetal position, get a blanket, maybe you have a fever, maybe you're just achy and sore and you're on the couch and you're curled up or you're in bed. So think about that posturing compared to your everyday posturing. When you're up and moving and you're doing your exercises and all the good things you're supposed to do, we're moving well through our torso, through our abdomen, our posture is good. When we're sick, the first thing off the bat, most of us tend to sort of cave into gravity, into our bodies, and that's not bad, right? You do what you need to do to get through being sick, but that will influence your pelvic floor. We've talked about this before. The other things that will influence your pelvic floor and how it functions: diet, stress level, hydration. Think about when you're sick. Typically our diets change. Usually we're not as hungry, or maybe we're just eating more things like soup or liquids. We often maybe aren't hydrating as much, even though we should be hydrating, or maybe we're hydrating with different things, Gatorades, electrolytes, things like that, that potentially could be irritating to your bladder depending on what it is. Maybe you're drinking more teas, things like that, that could also be irritating. So your diet could be influencing your symptoms. So could be posture, could be diet, could be stress level. Certainly getting sick is stressful, right? You don't feel well. You have a household to take care of, yourself to take care of, work activities, whatever. Usually we have a whole list of things as women that we need to get done. And when we get sick, it's an inconvenience, right? Like we don't have time to be sick. I feel like that all the time. If I start feeling sick, I'm like, I don't have time for this, right? So our stress level will impact our muscles and how we hold ourselves, how we hold our muscles, what's happening with our pelvic floor. So we have posture, we have diet, we have stress level. The last thing that will impact it is activity level, right? When you don't feel well, you're not up bouncing around doing all your exercises and feeling good. It might just be a struggle to get off the couch to go make something to eat, or to get to the bathroom, or to go from the couch to the bed. So all of a sudden we start shutting down through our core, through our pelvis, through our pelvic floor. We're not as mobile and active. And that combination of things is usually what will set people off into a little bit of a flare up when they're sick. Okay. But it's temporary. That's the good news. Your body doing all those exercises was in a really great place. And so think about it as this is just a little time out for your body to heal itself from the sickness. It will not last forever. And the fact that you had been doing really well means that usually you're going to bounce back pretty quickly. So when you start to feel better, doing some little light lunges, doing some little stretches, again, a little bit consistently goes a long way, right? So even just getting up, maybe you're doing a few bounces, maybe you're doing a few lunges, right? So just start letting your body move, okay? That's going to be super important. When you're ready, start getting your diet back on track, getting your hydration back on track, doing things while you're sick, lots of rest, right? Meditation work, deep breathing, letting your body sort of relax and heal. I sometimes think sickness comes also not just exposure to germs, but when our bodies get run down. When we've been go without the rest, our body, I think, sometimes gets sick to just be like, hey, we need a timeout, right? So give your body what it needs. Give it the love it needs. Maybe that's hot baths, hot showers. Maybe it's Epsom salt bath. Maybe it is just breath work. Maybe it is meditation. Maybe it's just Netflix and a good blanket, or your bed and a good book. Don't stress out. Don't panic that you're going all the way back to where you were. Don't start to freak out that, oh my God, it just happens that I'm sick. And not only am I sick, but now my pelvic floor is worse. And all these things start spiraling, right? Don't get in your head about it. It's easy to do. Been there, done that, and worked with a lot of clients who have been there too. But just want to remind you that setbacks are normal. Pelvic health is not a linear line. There's a lot of ebbs and flows depending on lots of factors: diet, stress, hormones, sickness, injuries, all sorts of things will impact it. So just know that if you get sick and you start to have a flare up, this is not a forever thing. I promise you, not a forever thing. Do what you need to do, get your body better. And then when you start feeling better, start to think about things like your posturing. Start to think things about what activities. Can you do some gentle walking? Can you do a little light lunging? Can you do a little quick hitter with some modifications? Get your hydration back up. And you will find you bounce back pretty quickly. Relapses with sickness are pretty common, but when you've been doing pretty well, you will find that those relapses become less and less, okay? And that when you get them, you have a better handle on them. And sometimes just knowing why it's relapsing and knowing what the situation is and knowing that you have some control over it once your body starts to feel better sort of helps take away that anxiety over the whole thing. So it's that time of year. It's winter. Sickness is common. Don't panic. Take care of you. Do what you need to do, and know that your pelvic floor knows what it needs to do. And as soon as you get yourself back doing what your everyday life entails, good diet, good eating, good stress management, good exercise, getting your micro floor workouts in, that your pelvic floor will bounce back just like you will. So on that note, I hope everybody has an awesome weekend ahead, and we'll talk soon. Take care, guys.